We've all been there. You're sitting at a stoplight, trying to avoid eye contact with the person outside your car window holding a sign begging for money. Or the horror stories on the news about the unfortunate families being evicted from their home with nowhere to go. Or the feelings you feel when you're in an impoverished neighborhood, the feelings of hopelessness and struggle. These are the faces and the feelings of poverty. Maybe you've experienced or are experiencing it firsthand, or maybe you think you could just ignore that person at the stoplight, or simply turn off the news stories, or leave behind the feelings of the hood, but you can't. It follows you and it affects your life on a personal level one way or another, whether you realize it or not. Although it is more prevalent in some areas of the country than others, poverty is everywhere. In other words, if you're in a society that has poverty in its makeup, which every society has, you are in one way or another affected by the consequences of poverty. My name is Carly Henderson, and through factual research and compassion, I have the privilege to inform you today how the effect of poverty is harmful to both society and the individuals who make up the society. I believe more than ever that society is isolated, that the stabilizing impact of close-knit communities is diminishing. Therefore, people do not realize the influence that society as an entirety has on their individual lives. And this leads us to our first point, that children are our future. We need children to carry on good moral direction and spiritual values and to be educated because they are future leaders. And it is them who will form and make up our future societies. And poverty negatively affects the healthy development of children. Statistics show that children from low-income families suffer from domestic abuse, physical abuse, and mental abuse. According to an article by Sarah Al-Hatab from UNICEF New York, children living in poverty are less likely to have access to school and drop out sooner. In addition, children from poor households are less represented in higher levels of education. Ariba Heder stated in her January 12, 2021 article titled The Basic Facts About Children in Poverty that 11 million children in America are poor. That is 1 in 7 children. It is a moral duty to benefit and contribute to our communities, and that includes how we prepare the next generation. Another devastating byproduct of poverty is drug addiction. Drug addiction does not discriminate against rich and poor. There are drug addicts in every socioeconomic class. But the poor are more vulnerable to drug addiction, criminal tendencies, and other destructive behaviors. Impoverished communities face significantly higher rates of drug addiction because of things like stress caused by financial insecurity, generational trauma, mental illness, which is also more prevalent in deprived areas, and other factors along those lines. The war on drugs plagues our country in the worst way right now. Jeff Nesbitt from U.S. News states that the Surgeon General reported that the United States spent $442 billion last year in dealing with drug and alcohol abuse. This seriously burdens federal, state, and local government resources, and ultimately you, the taxpayer. This is all a moral and an economic issue, and as citizens, we must do better, and we must help where we can. So now what? One thing I suggest is to vote. Become informed about our elected officials and their policies, and vote accordingly. Another thing is to volunteer. Donate your time and your funds and find volunteer opportunities in your community and be the change. Also, It's very important to remember that we can eradicate poverty through education. Education is often referred to as the great equalizer and is strongly linked to economic growth. Lastly, I'd like to say that with the poverty rate at an all-time high, it is time for everyone to acknowledge this and do what they can to fix it. So the next time you're at a stoplight and you see that person outside your window holding up a sign, begging for money, acknowledge that person. Even if it's only in your heart, acknowledge that person and consider how that person's struggle could be your struggle too. Thank you.